Hi, all right. So this is the mock exam. Mock exam. There are 60 questions in this exam. We will do them in ones, right? We will do them doing them sorry, in fives. We'll do them groups of fives. Okay, let's go. Question one. Which of the following is a function of strategic management accounting? Um, Strategic management accounting is very much about looking forward and trying to understand. If you remember, if you've done the mock, if you've done the progress test, you can see we divide this sort of triangle into the strategic, into the tactical, which is like middle management, and middle sort of planning. And here we have the operational. Think of this as 3 to 10 years. The kind of decisions we'd be making in the 3 to 10 year period. Here in a 1 to 2 year period, and here on a kind of a monthly basis, less than 1 year. So what we're really talking about is what's the argument up here, and ultimately, if you're making long-term decisions, you are analyzing, I suppose, so if you like the pestle elements of assessing the opportunities and threats that an organization faces. So that's the first one. Strategic, analyzing the external environment within which the business operates. The second question here says, which of the following are reasons for a management accounting to measure costs? So the point of management accounting is about it's internal. So because it's internal information, we're really interested in costs. We're interested, of course, in decision making, and we are interested in performance management. How is the organization doing? We're not, as management accountants, so much interested in the financial statement production or undertake financial statements. So this loses out. This loses out, and undertaking value for money audits, no, not necessarily. Our focus is very much about making short-term and long-term decisions and assessing performance within the organization. So the answer comfortably sits at B. Let's look at the third question here. What are the characteristics of good information for decision making at the tactical? So I've discussed this triangle a few times now. This is your tactical midpoint level, mid level. And at this mid level, we're talking about everything being, if you like, in the middle. So here we need very frequent. We have frequent information, narrow scope, detailed information here. But here, of course, as we go upwards, as we travel upwards, the information coming through is not as detailed. It's dependent on a number of variables. So this is sort of a mid-house, sort of in terms of that level. So we have here the idea of regular frequency, medium, and medium. So it's quite an average sort of approach taking place here. So the answer here is A. Okay, yeah, so this is going upwards. Then this question talks about joint costing and sort of apportioning joint costs. So the point is that we have made something, we've poured in, we have an overhead, call it 100,000, right? And coming out of this, we have two outlets, X and Y, right? And so for X, we have produced 1,000 units, and for Y, we have produced 2,000 units so far. But we need to split this overhead cost between X and Y. And so we could use weight, right? That's one if we were given. You could use weight. You could use the selling price that's split off, if you like. And you could also finally use something called the net realizable value, where you find out what the final profit is, if you like, so to speak. But the key point is we tend to notice that weight and selling price is split off. So the question is, at this very point, before we carry on with the process, these things have value. That's the point. So the question is, what is the value at this point is the issue here. And so the value, because of course this could be just 1,000 kilograms, but might be more valuable than this one. This could be gold, and this is silver. So it's not about weight all the time. So let's look at the value at this point. So the value here, of course, here is 1,000 times 15, which is 15,000, and the value here is 2,000 times 9. Yes, 2,000 times 9, which is 18,000. So we have a total value of 18,000 and 15,000, which is 33,000. So the question here is, which proportion do we give to X, which is the 1,000, which is this one. So it must be as a proportion 15,000 over 33,000, right? We're just looking at the ratio. We're almost saying, what's the ratio? 15 to 18. 15,000 to 18,000, right? And so when you do 15,000 over 33,000, you will get 45%. So it's almost as though, well, let's give, if we were to split this cost, we would get 45% of it based on value here, and therefore the balance of 55% here. So finally, the final question here is about over absorption. Remember, the point here is that you have used this figure, the overhead budget, based on what the number of hours you're expecting to arrive at this £4 per direct labor. So you're literally saying every time this business undergoes an hour, I will put in £4. So what's happened is you've put in 43,000 hours, and so in effect, when you do that, you get 172,000. So that's what's currently in your accounts right now. So again, you have the expense 172, and you have the accrual 172. I'll just change my pen color. Actually, what we now observe is that it tells us that the actual overheads were as budgeted. So the actual overheads are 160,000. So you've put in, of course, too much. So you need to put through a journal of 12,000 to offset or to reduce what this overhead is, right? And the idea that you put in 172 in the first place means you have over absorbed. So right now, what you currently have done is you have over absorbed by 12,000. So your answer here is D. Right. Those are our first 5 questions. See you in the next batch.